Hello and welcome everyone to a St. Patrick's edition of Games Are Fun. My name is Adam Beagle. I'm going to be your host for this episode. It's a light crew again this week, just me here and my brother Steven. Steven, how's it going?
Doing really well. Very excited to discuss a ton of free stuff, everybody. Free stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like we sort of had an idea of what this episode was going to be. We kind of had it planned out. I was going to be hosting it either way. But we had sort of an agenda, a specific topic we're going to talk about. But Luke wasn't able to make it onto the show today, some kind of last minute circumstances and whatnot. And Garrett is sort of he's sort of pulling back a little bit. He's only going to be on here or there. So we decided to pocket that episode, save it for a little bit later. I do think it'll be more fun when we have more people to join in that discussion. And I honestly didn't know what we were going to talk about today, and then we just got a ton of information dumped on us in the last day or two. So there actually ends up being a real lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So those topics include a bunch of Xbox news. Xbox is going ham right now. If you're a Game Pass subscriber or you've been waiting for a good time to subscribe, that time is now, my friends. That time is now. We also got a little bit of PlayStation news, and we got a little bit of a look ahead and some information in regards to tomorrow's Square Enix Presents event. So by the time this airs and is distributed outside of the live stream that we're in now, this will have already run. So, we'll be able to take a look retrospective, those that are listening, and you'll already know what happened in that event. But so yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. I guess they announced it like almost a week ago, and I just now saw it today. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. As I did mention, it's St. Patrick's Day today. The day we're doing this recording, I do have a green beverage with me. Woo!
And I have a beverage in a green cup.
I've got a green shirt on. It might look more bluish on camera, but it's more of like a forest green, I would say. So yeah, that's about as green as what I have. I think I don't think I have much else that's green, to be honest.
You got to get some Zelda attire like I've got going on today.
I do have a Zelda shirt. It's not green though, it's gray, and it has there's a Triforce, and there's an additional, kind of like what you have there, but it's like gray, and then the picture in the center is like multicolored. And then I have a shirt. It's a dark green shirt, and it has the like the music staff or whatever from the Ocarina of Time, where it's got like the bars and like notes. So basically it has the notes from the Song of Storms on it, and it says underneath "Make It Rain" because Song of Storms. So I do have that. I don't know that it fits me the greatest anymore. I already had this one on, so I just left this shirt on. I usually do try and either wear to these episodes either a Games Are Fun shirt or a gaming shirt of some sort. This is just a pretty basic long sleeve shirt. So anyway,
you got the green for St. Patty's.
What's that?
You got the green for St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
That's good.
Anyway, y'all probably aren't here to talk or listen to us talk about fashion. So let's go ahead and get into the show. Before we get into that, though, I do want to remind you all that Games Are Fun is a weekly podcast. Each week, Luke, Steven, me, sometimes Garrett get together, talk about video game news, trending industry topics, talk about the games we've been playing, all that fun stuff. If you like games, it's the right podcast for you. The podcast is available on your favorite podcast services. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and a whole bunch more. So just search for Games Are Fun on your podcast platform of choice, and you should be able to find us. You can also find versions of episodes on the Games Are Fun YouTube page. So please consider subscribing to us on YouTube. We need a whole lot more followers so we can get that custom URL link. So if you could, we'd really super appreciate it if you would go hit up our YouTube channel and give us that follow on there. So, and of course, there are some that tune in live. We do frequently do live streams of our episodes online. You can follow us on social media, join our Discord. We're always letting you know when we're going to be doing our live shows, so make sure you follow those to get the scoop on when we're going to be live. So that's pretty much it as far as housekeeping. So we can go ahead and jump on into the good stuff here. And I do want to start off with some Xbox news. So we know that Xbox and Bethesda have officially joined forces. There is a ton of games that are coming to Game Pass. They're just all over the place with the games that they're providing. Let me see if I can. I think I have. Goodness. Where is it? I thought I had this queued up already.
You have the ones that were announced today that you had saved up for us. You're
Yeah.
talking about the Bethesda ones?
So yeah, there's a bunch of Bethesda ones, and then there's a bunch of games that are coming soon, and there's also some EA Play. So if you want to maybe try and find that Bethesda one super quick.
I got it. So we're going to have Dishonored Definitive Edition coming to console, PC, cloud. Dishonored 2 console, PC, and cloud. Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 64, Doom Eternal coming to all three places that you have Game Pass. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowinds, Oblivion, and Skyrim. So 3, 4, and 5 for this Elder Scrolls series coming to console and PC, with Skyrim also coming to the cloud. Elder Scrolls Online is also going to be there. The Evil Within, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, all console, PC, and cloud as well. Fallout New Vegas will come to console. Prey and Rage 2, console, PC, and the cloud. And then Wolfenstein, The New Order, The Old Blood, and Young Blood coming to all three Xbox Game Pass services. So it is 20 full games from Bethesda. What a list. What a list.
Yeah, for
Oblivion
sure.
has me particularly excited.
Which one?
Oblivion, Elder
Oh
Scrolls
yeah.
4.
Yeah, so many good ones in there. It's amazing. So I know they've said that the some of their newer games coming out, like Deathloop, for example, it's still going to be cross. You know, I think PlayStation. I think it's a PlayStation exclusive for a bit.
Yep.
I think it's a timed exclusive. So I imagine once that's over, that'll be coming to Game Pass too. I don't think they've confirmed that yet, but I would think that would be the case.
More than likely, like with the agreements that they have with those sort of things, and Phil Spencer had mentioned it, is that there's legal agreements all over the place with some newer games. So like Deathloop, for instance, it probably has to go through its timed exclusive before they can even talk about it coming to their service, right? Because if PlayStation's got it, PlayStation obviously doesn't want Xbox rolling around saying, "Hey, listen, just wait till it comes to Game Pass."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's they're going to have those little legalities to deal with a lot of stuff. But so far, Deathloop's the only one that I've heard that is maintaining a exclusivity for some other console. Or yeah, so that's what I got on that one.
Yeah, I wonder if
But
when say like Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, when they start rolling around, I'm very curious to see how that's going to work. Are they going to be is it going to be multi-platform games, or are they going to be Xbox exclusive? I don't think there's been any definitive answer on that, other than Xbox doesn't think that it's necessary for those games to thrive by being on multiple consoles. So it kind of sounds like they want them to be exclusive. Whether or not that ends up being the case remains to be seen, but it'll be interesting to find out.
So with those games, what I was thinking with them, and again, this is me just spitballing things off by myself and with my tinfoil hat and stuff. They've already been in production, so my guess is that any illegal agreements that there may be, it's probably already established. More than likely, I'm going to call it now, is that the new Elder Scrolls and Starfield will be multi-system, and then anything else developed by Bethesda after pretty much those two are going to be exclusive to Xbox. That's kind of how I'm looking at things right now. But again, it all kind of depends where the rights are at right now, and we won't see that. I'm guessing Starfield, I think, is going to end up being first, from what I understand, that we're going to be hearing about. Bethesda's, I think, CEO is already mentioning that, is that Starfield is going to be coming first. We'll probably learn about that around E3 time, or maybe even in Xbox's event next week. So we'll see.
We will see. So along with that, so yeah, Bethesda, lots of Bethesda games, tons of stuff coming. It's going to be amazing. And that's not all. But wait, there's more. A whole lot more. So we also have EA as of today, or I should say tomorrow, the day after this recording, EA Play is coming to Game Pass as well. So there's going to be just a plethora of EA games coming as well. It's insane. So we've got stuff like Rocket Arena, Need for Speed Heat, Plants vs. Zombies, Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't know what that is. Sea of something. I can't see. It's kind of blurry. Need for Speed Payback, Titanfall, Titanfall 2, A Way Out, Anthem. Kind of surprising since they killed Anthem. Or are killing
Anthem's still
Anthem.
supported. Anthem's still supported. They're just not doing a 2.0.
Yeah.
That's it.
Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, Unravel, Unravel 2, Battlefront 2, Mass Effect Andromeda. If you haven't played Mass Effect Andromeda because of all the negativity that happened when that game launched, stop being silly. Go play this game when it hits Game Pass. We've also got Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, Mirror's Edge 1 and 2. Is that 2 or is that special edition? I'm not sure. Burnout Paradise, which, for that, I might have to play through that again. Dante's Inferno, SSX, Crisis 3, Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. I know a lot of people are going to be real interested in that. Skate 3 and Black. So I think I don't even think that's all of them. I think that's just a portion of those games, because they do have I think Sims will be coming as well.
More than likely Sims, yeah.
Did I mention
I'm wondering if like Sims PC, because console and PC for Sims is different. So I'm wondering if Sims is going to be like a Game Pass for PC. That would be awesome, especially because a lot of times with Game Pass they'll have things packaged in, downloadable content packaged into them. So I'm wondering, am I starting a new Beef Steagle and doing a new playthrough of Sims? It's going to be interesting to see.
Yep. So there's a ton of those, but wait, there's even more. Can you believe it? So we have then Outriders coming day and date on Game Pass. Undertale's coming. Yakuza 6. Narita.
Yakuza's out, or Undertale's out now. It's actually out today.
Okay, well, there you have it. Yakuza 6. Narita Boy, I'm not sure what that is. Empire of Sin, Star Wars Squadrons, which is another EA Play game. Octopath Traveler, which, oh my god, so good. That is an insane value right there. Genesis Noir, Nier Automata, which has been on Game Pass for console, is now going to be on Game Pass for PC. Torchlight 3 will be on Game Pass PC. Pillars of Eternity, Deadfire Ultimate Edition, Game Pass PC, and Supraland, Game Pass PC. So, and I should mention Squadrons is the console version. That won't be on PC. So for the majority of these, it's console and PC. There's a bunch of them that'll be available on cloud as well. So there is a bit of a mix and match. It would be nice if they were available across all three of those platforms, but you know what? There's still plenty of options. Like I said, most of these games will be available across each of those platforms. Especially PC is making out huge in this bunch.
Yeah, really filling out the library. I as a Game Pass for PC user, because I don't have an Xbox in the house at all, seeing this library grow the way it is, like, it gives me hope for what we're gonna have coming up in the future. Plus, right now, because getting finally getting stuff like, let's say, Deadfire, Pillars of Eternity. I love that series. I haven't played the second one yet. I'm excited to get my hands on it now. I have the chance. I've already been playing Nier, Octopath Traveler, another playthrough coming, maybe. I don't know, but it's there's a lot of good stuff coming to the PC. I'm loving this.
Yep. But wait, there's more. No, I'm just kidding. I think that's really it as far as Game Pass stuff.
Mhm. The nice thing about this too is they're clearing the air for next week, getting all this Game Pass, EA Play news out of the way, and I think it leaves room for us getting a really good view at what we're going to get this year from Xbox from their event next week. So that is, I think that's what I'm most excited about of all this, is that we've got a nice clear event coming up, and it's ready to just drop a bunch. And with all this Halo talk going on right now, I'm really hoping that we get a date Friday on what they plan on doing with it.
I mean, I think it's possible. I think they said last year when they gave the news that they were delaying. I'm pretty sure they said it would still be 2021. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything not in this lineup of Game Pass games that you think would be like the most perfect addition to Game Pass? Like if you could have one Game Pass game, what would it be? Maybe not even just for you per se, but like if there's a game where you're like, you know what? Here's a game I love that maybe the masses haven't played that I would like for them to be able to play. Like, what would it be? What would you pick?
I know the Fable games are on console, right? I would love to see those come to PC. That would be like my perfect announcement, is that Fable, the whole Fable series is coming to Game Pass for PC. That would be my perfect thing. That would kind of round it out a bit for me, because they've already been dropping the Halos in there. And that's what I go back to the most with Xbox, is the Halo games. I know you scream at me about give us the moon and stuff, but
Deliver
yeah,
us the
I
moon.
just deliver us to give it to us.
It's
Give us the
already
moon.
on there. Play it. It's
I know.
on there.
But yeah, my perfect one would be Fable. Give me the Fable series on Game Pass for PC. That would be my big announcement for Game Pass. What about you? What would you want?
Oh boy, that's tough. I think right now, I would, I would probably say Loop Hero, just because I love that game so heckin' much, and I think it would be a great way for people to get their hands on it. For those that maybe are on the fence, maybe think it's interesting, or maybe kind of wrote it off, but now that if it were to come to Game Pass, maybe they would give it a try, or they'd finally get a chance to pick it up without dropping some extra cash. I think that would be awesome. I think it would be a great way to play it. I also think it'd be great on Switch too, but it's a different conversation. I just keep thinking, man, like I wish I could play that game in bed so bad. I would probably, as much as I already spend so much time in that game, I would just, I think, get even more consumed if it were on Switch. Anyway, not a Switch discussion, but it should be on Game Pass. Get it on there. Get it on their Xbox. You'll get some subscribers. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, any other thoughts on Game Pass you want to talk about? Xbox in general?
I just want to thank Nishan in Twitch chat right now for bringing up a very good point. Is that Xbox is going to need a big announcement coming up next Friday, because PlayStation and Switch really kind of have a handle on the industry right now, news wise. There's a lot being generated about Xbox over Game Pass, but like there's none of those. There's nothing really about any sort of like new hot title or something big being released this year, and or even into 2022. So like I'm kind of hoping, and Xbox usually doesn't disappoint, but great point. They need to come out next week, and we'll talk about this probably more next week, with something that's going to put them in the same position as what Nintendo and Sony are at right now.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what they have, up their sleeve, if anything. Because I mean, it's one of those things. Obviously, we do have to temper our expectations for anything Microsoft, because the Nintendo Direct was a little bit of a letdown for a lot of people. The PlayStation State of Play was a letdown for a lot of people. So we're just sort of like in this position where we all want to be super hype. We all want the big announcements, the big drops, but they're just not happening. So we have to temper those expectations a little bit, I think. But maybe we'll get that big blockbuster announcement that we all want to hear.
Hmm.
So, as we mentioned, it's the world doesn't revolve around Xbox. There's still, plenty of news coming out from other platforms. One of those being PlayStation. And there's actually two bits of news that came out here recently. They showed off a bunch of indie games today. They kind of gave some new reveals and updates for some indie games, and they also have some 10 free games to download this spring. So they have, sort of their own news in terms of free games and stuff like that. So we have Game Pass news, and then we have this other stuff. So as far as the free games, so Play at Home 2021 update. This is on the PlayStation blog. 10 free games to download this spring. So they've got 10 indie games. They're all indie games, so you're not going to get anything huge, no AAA titles in this, but a lot of really good indie games, really solid ones actually, ones that
Mm.
a couple really highly praised games in here. So this starts on March 25th. They're going to be doing this. So they just to kind of go through the lineup here. There's is this Rezu, Abzu, The Witness, Enter the Gungeon, Subnautica, and then there's some PlayStation VR titles. There's Moss, Astrobot Rescue Mission, Paper Beast, and Thumper. So a lot of decent games. I know people like Abzu. Enter the Gungeon is really big for those that are into like those roguelike games like Binding of Isaac and games like that. So I know that's a big one. Subnautica has a really big. This is actually a pretty big one. I think I'm kind of curious to know if this is because I think it's still early access or there's going to be some sort of update coming later this spring. Q2, I believe. I want to say May. There's going to be some sort of big update, and I'm wondering if those that get this free version of the game, if they're going to get that update. So that'll be.
Yeah, so Subnautica, as a No Man's Sky player, Subnautica is one of those ones that have always stuck out to me.
It
The
looks
update
great.
that's coming out, yeah, it's basically completely ocean focused. Whenever it comes to that sort of No Man's Sky playthrough, um, gathering resources, building things up. Below Zero is the update that's going to be coming out.
That's the one.
Um, and it is fully, I think it's fully released now, and then you have Sub Zero coming. I'm trying to find the date. Sub Zero. Is it below zero? It's below zero. It's not finished. I don't see a date on it just yet.
I think it's May. I don't know why, but I just have this strong feeling
Oh,
or of remembrance that it's in May.
early access right now. It's in early
Okay.
access right now, and then it'll have a release. I guess in May is what you're saying. Excuse me.
Could
My
be wrong
goodness.
if you're not finding anything there, but I swear that's what I heard. I know there was just it was just within the past week or two that they had announced a release date. And I'm pretty sure it's May. Either way, it's still it's a pretty big drop for it being an indie game. I think that's a
Mm.
pretty big deal. So it does sound like, maybe they'll get that base game for free, but below zero, remains to be seen. I imagine they'll probably want people to pay for that. So, yeah, we'll find out. Any games in there that besides Subnautica that you find particularly interesting? You want to check out?
The puzzle one, the witness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've been I was kind of eyeballing that one up a little bit because it looks great. It looks fantastic as a game. So now it's just a matter of like checking out gameplay and stuff like that to see how the puzzles are and things. I may give that one a whirl. These free ones, I usually at least download them, give them 30 minutes and see if they settle. And then if they do, I keep them around.
Mm-hmm.
But, but yeah, that one's the one that I'm kind of looking at. I don't have a VR headset, so
Yeah.
none of the VR stuff is really, I'm, looking at too much. Although Paper Beast looks very interesting.
Yeah, there's that, and then Moss, which I think looked really good, but it's again like you said, I don't have a VR headset. Probably not going to be getting one anytime soon. But
Mhm.
that is a game that I would like to give a shot, but I just can't really do that right now. But yeah, I agree with you. Paper Beast seems like like it could be a really cool game. It certainly looks really nice. I like the aesthetic, the art style to it. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're out there and you have PSVR and you don't have it, well, you can get it for free. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Also, on April 19th, Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition will be free as well. So it doesn't stop with just the indie games. There is that sort of last. So I guess this would be, your biggest title of the bunch, that sort of AAA, is Horizon Zero Dawn, which was a great game. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Really awesome that they're, giving this one away for free, and it's the complete edition too. So you're getting all the things.
Yep. Now the base game itself, I think, is a little bit better than what the DLC is,
Yeah.
but still fantastic all around.
Yep.
Whenever it comes to mechanics and world and story, like you can't. There's no reason not to play this game at this point, unless like that type of game isn't your gig.
Yep. So so yeah, there you have it. Some PlayStation news to go along. Oh yeah, we have the indie. So there was some indie announcements that they showed today. So there was 7 upcoming indie releases where they gave reveals and updates. Did you watch any of these? Did you check these out?
I didn't. I actually had no idea what was happening today. I was out of the loop on it.
Yeah.
So it's all you have to take the lead on this one.
Okay. So there were 7 games. So there was Operation Tango, which I don't think that was a real reveal. I think that was an update or a new trailer or something like that. That one seemed kind of familiar to me, so I think it's a co-op spy game. I didn't really it didn't really resonate with me from the trailer, but I'm sure there'll be people out there that think it looks good. This other game, Chicory, they say it looks like a sort of puzzle game, but like you're painting the world to like you kind of have like this sort of, I don't want to say blank canvas, but it's like someone just kind of penciled things in and it's your job to add color to the world. Kind
It
of
looks like a coloring book, is what it looks like.
exactly. Yeah. Yep. So I think this one looks pretty cool. I'm interested to see a little bit more about that. It does come to PS5 and PS4 this spring, so that one's coming out soon. The next game was not like noir, like Noir. It's Nour. So I don't know how you pronounce that. Nor? Is it
So
Nor?
if you say
Play with your
nor
food.
nor nor play with your food,
Yep.
maybe. Yeah.
So this one, they kind of describe it here on the PlayStation blog as an interactive soundtrack. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any like goal or maybe not even necessarily any story to this game. At least it didn't really give that impression from the trailer that they showed. It looks interesting, but it does kind of look, so there's food, right? You have different, food thing. There's one setting where they showed a bunch of toasters with bread in it. There was a big plate of pasta. There was like a sushi platter. And as you press buttons and things, like you're creating a soundtrack, and as you create that soundtrack, things happen on screen. Things will shift around or move, bounce around, and so you're making music and you're sort of changing the landscape of the scene that you're in, and it seems interesting. I don't know that it's a game for me necessarily, but certainly for creative types, it does look like could be interesting for those that are into like taking pictures and things like that. It does seem very artistic in a way, but yeah, that's it's it's a game. I guess if you want to call it that, but
Game that makes music.
yep. There is Where the Heart Leads, which is coming to PS4 and PS5 July 13th. So this is they call it a surreal narrative adventure. So it's Yeah, pretty much just that. It's a narrative adventure. You're controlling what appears to be this elderly gentleman, and heavily story based. Just I don't want to say like point and click necessarily. There might be some light puzzle elements to it, but I think again mostly it's just sort of this walking sim. Like not it's not first person, it's third person, and it's got a very artistic world. I do like the aesthetic that they gave it. It does seem like it could be pretty interesting. I didn't get a whole lot of story beats necessarily from the trailer, so there's obviously more to be seen with that. But I've really started coming around to these narrative games, over the past couple years. So it is something that's kind of on my radar after seeing the presentation for it today. So again, that comes out July 13th, so we might see a little bit more about that coming up in the future before that releases. Next, we have Puzzling Places. And this one, honestly, this probably looked like one of the best games to me. Like it's simple. It's a puzzle game. So, do you remember those old 3D puzzles from back in the day? Like there's like the Big Ben. What else was there? There was maybe the Empire
Oh,
State Building was one of them.
yeah, and like Lincoln Memorial sort of thing. Like you build a big
Yeah.
3D. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, you have like these real thick puzzle pieces that you put all together and you make a 3D image. And it's basically that, but a video game. The only downside to this, and this is actually probably something I would look into or maybe want to get, but it's a VR exclusive. And that's the
Mm.
downside. That's the kicker. Because this actually looked pretty neat. Not gonna lie. I would probably be very bad at it. It does seem like it'd be pretty difficult, especially I don't know if you can kind of see what you're supposed to be making um while you're putting it together. Think like looking at the box, right? If you're doing just like a regular puzzle, you kind of look at the box as a frame of reference. I didn't really see any of that from the demo that they showed, so I don't know how much you get to see while you're doing it, which could make it very difficult. But maybe they do. Maybe that is something you can, I don't know, maybe you can pause and take a look at it. I don't know, but yeah, it looks fun though. It looks really cool. If they have a lot of different puzzles in there, that could be really interesting. So they only showed a couple on there. I think there was one that they kind of showed a lot of. I think there was one they're like, hey, we think this one's really great. We think you guys should look at this one a lot. Um, and it kind of looked like a scene out of Inception when when you start seeing like they're outside at like a cafe and you see like the city kind of rolling up on itself. That's what it reminded me of, and they showed that puzzle a lot in there, but it looks cool. Let's see, Heavenly Bodies. I'm trying to think. Oh, I think this was the one. It was like a space game, like a space puzzle physics thing.
Yeah, taking a look at the trailer of it, it's basically it's a puzzle game, and it looks like you're sending an astronaut, or in this case, they say a cosmonaut, out to do a spacewalk,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got to, I guess, solve some puzzles with this. What's it saying? Two challenging scenarios are going to be dropped with that one. So it sounds like there's really only going to be two puzzles with it. I'd be interested to see what this game has going on for it.
Yeah, and I think it's co-op too. You can play by yourself or with another person from what it looked like from the trailer. And yeah, it looked kind of cool. It looked like what do I want to say this? It was like I say like physics based, but like you have your controls are using like your two analog sticks to move your arms. The L2 and R2 kind of like make a fist so you can like grab onto stuff. And then the L1 and L2 or L1 and R1 buttons are like your legs. You can move your legs with those two buttons. So you kind of I think I get the sense that you need to be somewhat coordinated. It was kind of like this pat your head and rub your stomach type things, which
Right.
could make it quite difficult. They did say in the description of it that it is a challenging game, which I totally see that being the case from the trailer. Um, so yeah, it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, because it kind of looks like whatever you're working on, your ship or satellite or whatnot, can go spinning wildly out of control.
Hmm.
and you kind of have to manage yourself during that and make sure your buddy doesn't go flying
Right.
out of this place. Oh man, there's momentum to deal with. I'm interested in this a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, there was the scene they were showing where they had to like crawl out onto like this satellite dish to reposition it, and then the person lost their grip and they just drifted out into space. Like, yeah, it seems all the fears of space right there at your fingertips. So yeah, so that's what we got from PlayStation. So they were like, "Hey, Xbox, you got some games you want to talk about. We got some games we want to talk about too." And again, I got to say, like, I love indie games so much. I love that so much of these announcements from PlayStation were indie game focused. Like those free games were all indie games. These were all indie games. Like I love that. I love the focus on indies. I love indies. And yeah, I'm glad that they're getting I'm glad that indie games are getting so much opportunity from
do you
both.
think do you think we need to have this anymore? The indie announcements. Do you think we can start throwing some of these games in with like the AAA announcements?
No, no, I don't think so. I don't know. It's a two-edged sword, right? Because think back when we were talking Game of the Year, right? Like
Hmm.
our thought process was, well, let's not have a category for best indie because look at how many of these indie games are competing against AAA games for Game of the Year. And
Right.
so I'm firmly on that side of the camp, but then also I'm thinking without these big, you know, these big publishers, would we even know that these games exist? And if we lump these games into, a state of play where we're getting, stuff like Final Fantasy 7 or let's say down the road and we're getting God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn information, like how much of that stuff is just going to be forgotten
Mm,
because everyone's paying attention to all these other bigger games that are being announced. So I
that's a
think
good point.
I think there is still a place for indies to have their own space announcement wise, but I do think that when it comes to like game of the year discussions, like they definitely deserve a place within those game of the year discussions. I mean, just to kind of add on to this, they gave a release date for the Disco Elysium Complete Edition, which is coming out I think the end of March, and that was a game that took home so many awards from Game Awards. Was it not last year, but the year before? I don't
Hmm.
think they got Game of the Year, but they won a lot of heckin' awards from that show.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we had Hades was in the running, the discussion last year, and it's like every year we have like this really great indie game that's really sort of pushing the envelope and giving these big titles a run for their money. I was kind of I wouldn't have been surprised if Hades took Game of the Year last year at Game Awards, and I think it was maybe not really close. I kind of get the sense that Last of Us Part 2 was a landslide victory, but it was in that discussion, and it's really cool that it was. Yeah, indies are really making a great impact. So yeah, there we have that for PlayStation. So tomorrow, in addition to a bunch of games and cool stuff, we are also getting a presentation from Square Enix called Square Enix Presents. And so that's going to be happening at 10 a.m. Pacific. It'll be 1 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. GMT, which I believe is like UK, European
Yeah.
time, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do get a little bit of a look at what they're going to be presenting. So they say it's going to be around 40 minutes for the event. It's going to be featuring the world premiere of the new Life is Strange game. We're going to be getting they're also going to be showing some stuff for Outriders, Marvel's Avengers, Tomb Raider 25th anniversary, a new Square Enix Montreal game or games plural. Okay, so there's more than one. Just Cause Mobile, because why not have a mobile game in there somewhere? And Balan Wonderful, or Balan Wonder World, which there was a demo out for, and a lot of people didn't like it. So, kind of interested
Mhm.
to see what they have to say. So, 40 minutes. I can't imagine they're going to spend all 40 minutes on these games here. depending on how many of those Montreal games they have to show. Uh, do you think we'll get anything else, like any big major announcements from this?
That has been my mulling over since knowing about this and having it announced is because they took away a lot of the mystery, right? A lot of the mystery by giving us this big list of stuff. We know that Outriders is coming out and it's going to be a Game Pass day one. So we know that information's there. So they'll probably do some show off of some gameplay and talk about how it's coming to Game Pass, yada yada yada. Marvel's Avengers, I think, is getting new DLC and patching and things along those lines. So we'll get some news about those things. Tomb Raider on their 25th anniversary, they'll probably talk about the 2 free games that you can get right now from Tomb Raider, and then maybe they give us a new one, possibly, and then new Square Enix Montreal games. What do they make out of there? What do they make out of Montreal?
You know, I'm not too sure.
Because that's going to be where we get a bunch of new stuff, right? And that's really Square Enix Montreal.
Yeah, that's like what I was saying. Like it's games plural. So I'm curious to know what that means. Could be anything. Could even be a boat.
It could be a boat. Create the mobile games of tomorrow today is what it says on their website. So it sounds like maybe they're the mobile game
More mobile
developer.
Okay.
Yeah, so more mobile stuff. Maybe they'll be going over stuff like the new Final Fantasy VII mobile games that are coming out. I could see them going over that stuff. What else do we have here? Hitman Go, Hitman Sniper, Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go. So like, there's a lot of stuff that comes out of that studio. So I'm almost guessing that there's probably going to be a lot of Final Fantasy VII mobile that'll come from the Montreal part of that presentation. Just Cause Mobile. See, why isn't that one lumped in with Montreal then, is the question.
That's a good
That's
point.
The question I have.
Good point.
And then Balan Wonderworld, I have no idea what that is.
It looked cool. I remember seeing the trailer for it and seeing that there was a demo out for it. I'm like, ooh, like this game looks really neat. But man, did people not like that demo. People did not like that demo. So I don't know. Maybe they listened to feedback. Maybe they've got some changes in mind that they're going to show off. Maybe, you know, maybe there's a way to make this right before it releases. I don't know, but yeah, people did not care for that.
Yeah, so it's what we've got in kind of the extended list on what we're looking at. Just Cause Mobile has its own section because I'm almost guessing they're probably going to show some gameplay of that. And then it's new mobile game announcements from Square Enix Montreal. So if I would have scrolled down the page, it would have said this. What's Tato? Tato Showcase. Take a look at some delightful titles from Square Enix sister company Tato. When
you say Tato, I'm like, wait, Final Fantasy 14?
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we just got the Final Fantasy 7 news. I can't imagine they're gonna throw 16 in there. Like, I'm just trying to think like what else, you know, Square Enix has under their sleeve that they could maybe show at this that would be totally brand new. And I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I think 16. We're not going to see it tomorrow.
No,
I don't think we'll see 16. If we see 16 anytime this year, it's going to be E3.
Yep.
When we see it.
I agree.
I think they're going to stick to what we've got on the list here. I don't know if they're going to drop any sort of like, wait, here's more, or one last thing, please look forward to it. I think it's going to be what they've got on the list. I hope there's something, but I think it's what we see is what we're going to get here.
So there's seven things listed, 7, you know, things there. So what would be the average, you know, if there's 40 minutes, how much time would they need to spend on each? I mean, it's a decent amount of time. Over 5 minutes a piece?
Yeah, 5-6 minutes a piece.
So I mean, yeah, I guess if they maybe spend, you know, with Life is Strange being like a world premiere, I don't know, maybe they spend 10 minutes on that. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, it could just be these. Very possible.
Mm-hmm. But they got Matt Mercer.
They do have Matt Mercer. Yep.
Host. I was very excited to see that today.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He can do anything. Like anything. I'm gonna watch it. He was in a terrible movie with what's his name? Was he Hercules? I think he was Hercules from that show back in the day. Oh man, what's that dude's name? He was in a terrible movie with him though, and still watched it just because he was in it. He was the villain. He played it so well.
Nice.
Of course, he's voice acted Kevin Sorbo. Thank you, Nishan from chat. Kevin Sorbo, that's it. He was in a movie with Kevin Sorbo. I think it was a series of movies too. Like they made multiple of these movies, and they are awful, like awful C-list type movies. Matt Mercer shows up as the main villain to counteract Kevin Sorbo's sagely good guy side, and it is just a complete train wreck throughout the entire thing. But Matt Mercer plays his role very well. That's probably the best thing about the entire movie series. And I watched them all just because of Matt.
Nice.
Oh man.
Nice. So
But yeah.
yeah. So anything else you want to mention about Square Enix Presents?
Not really. I love you, Square Enix. I love your video games, and that's it. That's all.
Fair enough. All right, so let's move on and talk about what we've been playing. I'll go ahead and I'll give you the floor on this, and give us the rundown of what you've been playing.
So it's still the same types of stuff as last week, except I've drawn back on Stardew Valley quite a bit. Like I said, I kind of have beaten that game at this point. I've only got one last thing that I want to accomplish, and I think it's based on RNG that it comes up, and that's just getting to the bottom of the mines, going through all 120 levels within a week. So I'm just waiting for that to pop, and then, but mainly, I've been spending a lot of time in space with Stellaris. Having picked up the base game plus 6 or 7 DLCs for $15 from the Humble Bundle, and that has been a great time. Just today, the most interesting thing that happened just today. I was just minding my own business. I'm a big supporter of treating technology properly, right? Making sure that you're not abusing them, and if there's something happening, like you just kind of do it. I want to avoid a robot uprising. Well, it didn't matter. The robots still rose up against me. I had to really put them down. They needed to be taught a lesson, and I smacked them. My average fleet strength, because your spaceships are given a number, and to kind of give you an idea, is I'm a middling civilization with average fleet strength of about 30,000. Your ancient civilizations, kind of the ones that have been in the galaxy for a very, very long time, and they actually reside there still, they've got fleet strengths of like 90,000. So I'm only about a third of the way through the game to kind of give you an idea here. The robots rise up, and they're coming at me with fleet strengths of like 10,000. They're a third of my strength. So I kind of taught them a very rough lesson today, to just take it easy. Pump your brakes. You have a place in this society, but I had to smack them down a little bit. Surviving Mars is another one. So again, on this big space kick, Surviving Mars is a colony simulator for Mars. Very interesting game. The simplicity that you see whenever you're taking a look at pictures or videos of this game is very misleading. There's a lot of nuance to it. So your main purpose is to build a successful colony on Mars, starting out from bare bones, just robots, and gathering resources from Mars itself to be able to start building up your colony. And little things can really mess you up. So if you kind of overextend yourself too fast without having the resources to back you up, your colony will fail. Your colonists, whenever they show up, will die, that sort of thing. Or you can't bring colonists at all. The other thing that they have is random disasters. There is a way to turn off the disasters, but I highly, highly recommend you keep them on because it makes the experience just so much more interesting. One of the disasters that you can get is a meteor shower. Friend of my channel over in the kingdom from Three Bears Gaming, Lucas, he plays this game along with me. We've been going side by side, just kind of comparing colonies and things like that. He had a 3-day long meteor shower on his colony the other day, and it completely wrecked his domes, and he had like basically weeks worth of work that he had to do to try and bring his colony back up to speed again. So like really nice, interesting, nuanced things to this. Your colonists that you bring in all have personality traits, and you've got to make sure that they get along with each other. Not only that, like they'll come in with certain vices. So like there's some people who end up being heavy drinkers. There's ones that end up gambling too much, because you can actually put up like these little casinos and bars and stuff, so your colonists can enjoy themselves while also working away from Earth. The economy of Earth can affect your economy on Mars, and how expensive it is to have certain things shipped in. Like a lot of little things that really help the game just kind of get fleshed out, and it's been a good time. I've restarted colonies 4 times now. My 5th one right now is like, it's where I'm sitting on this one because it's going really well. Nothing terrible has happened. I've been choosing very carefully, because you can even choose what your crew manifest is going to be for your first set, or for your colonists. So who's going to be getting shipped in. You can choose them very carefully, and that's something to really take a look at, because you don't just want to throw a whole bunch of randos in, because that ends up being just a hot mess whenever you do it. So you kind of want to select what you're going to need early on, and then as you get moving forward, then start bringing in tourists and start bringing in people that don't have specializations and things along those lines, just to come in. Your regular civilian population, you don't want to toss them into the mix right away. It could go very badly for the colony. But really cool stuff there. And of course, Animal Crossing New Horizon, getting the Mario stuff still bought. And as always, Final Fantasy 14, 9 a.m. Eastern time every day, Monday through Friday.
Nice. Yeah, I was. I'm kind of interested in the Surviving Mars game. I think I claimed it on the Epic Games Store because it was free, and I haven't played it yet. But I figure at least if I have it claimed, I can get around to it at some point eventually and give it a try. So sounds cool.
If you've ever had any interest in SimCity, city skylines, anything along those lines, that's what this kind of sits in, is that same type of genre. It's just messing around in those. And you don't get like, it's not like a little space either. You get a very large chunk of land, huge tracts of land, to 1,000 points for that reference, to kind of build this colony up on. So eventually you can basically have a Mars city, I guess you could say. But yeah, excited to get that far into the game if I ever do.
I mean, if you're like the only person on the planet, I would really hope that you'd have a large tract of land to work with, right? It's like, no, you get this little crater here, and that's your space. You stay put.
You stay in your crater. Stay right there. My favorite place is to hang out around the Big Trench. The name is escaping me because I'm terrible with names in that sense, but Valles Marineris.
That's the one.
Valles Marineris. I love to put my settlements, my colonies around there. I've always tend to land there. A lot of water for some reason around Valles Marineris. I'm not really. I think according to the science, would be more trying to hang up around the poles, but I've been able to plant my flag there, which has been nice. Oh, and the other thing too is you can customize your rockets to a certain point, mostly just the decals that are on them. 1,000 points for this reference. My decal on my rockets is "Don't Panic," which is absolutely fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm guessing the water that's there by Valles Marineris is probably what they'll use to cook the spaghetti, and then they'll put the marinara on top of the spaghetti. That's my guess.
Well done.
Anything else, or is that everything?
That's it for now. Yep. I think this week coming up is going to be a little bit busier. But yeah. Yep. Because with all the Game Pass stuff, I've got to sift through there and get things downloaded and figure out what I'm going to put my time into and things like that. But yeah. But what you got going on? That's what I've been playing. I've been in space. What do you have happening?
You've been playing a heck of a lot more than what I have. I'll say that. Yeah, I've been hooked on Loop Hero. That's been my jam since, last week. Still really enjoying that game. Although I did take a little bit of a break. So I've been watching a streamer, a streamer that I really enjoy watching. It's Ezekiel3, a little bit of a larger streamer, but he played Persona 4 last year, which is one of my favorite games of all time. and he just started a new playthrough of Persona 3, which I shouldn't say I never played it. So Persona 3 was technically my first Persona game. And if you know anything about Persona games, is that the intros for those, like the tutorial sections, hours long. They are extremely long. It takes a real long time to get into any sort of combat. And then by the time you do, they're like, you do like 3 fights and they're like, okay, great, let's go back to base. And then like that's the last time you touch any sort of combat for like another hour or two. So when I played this for the very first time, this was probably, oh my gosh, this was so long ago. Um Probably like 2010, 2011. So they had the was it Persona 3 FES, that version? It was on PlayStation 3. You could buy it off the network. And so I played it, tried it. I'm like, not really for me. It seems cool, but not so much, which is really funny because of how much I ended up really liking Persona 4 when I gave that a try. But I was watching him play and I'm like, man, like I need to go give this game another try. So I dug out my PS3, dusted that bad boy off because man, I can't tell you the last time I turned that on. And so I'm like, okay, well I'll hook it up here on my at my computer. I'll hook it up to my capture card so I can just play. I can run all the audio and stuff through my computer, so I can play on my one of my PC monitors and still have someone's Twitch stream on the side and kind of do double duty. And so it turns out with PlayStation, it's always a hassle to do capture cards with them because you got that, what is it, HDCP setting that you have to turn off in order to use anything capture card related. And if you have it on, it just won't do anything. Well, PS3 has this too, except it's not an option that you can toggle, at least not that I'm aware of or not that I could find. So I'm like, great. So I can hook it up where I want, but I'm either going to have to choose between the game's audio or whatever streamer I have up at the time. So it's like I'll get to listen to my game, but I'll just have to settle for watching whoever. And so I just, it, whatever. It is what it is. So, um, but I ended up, I hooked it up. I played it. I'm really enjoying it this time around. You get past that, that initial tutorial stage and everything, and it's just it's a good game. I can't wait to get further in to see what this game really has in store because I love Persona 4, I love Persona 5, and like I just, it's a good way to, I often think like, oh man, I wish I could play Persona again for the first time, and this is kind of my way of doing that. So yeah, it's basically been Loop Hero, it's been Persona 3. It feels so weird. It feels weirder to play PS3 than it does for me to play Super Nintendo, which is how many more years older than the PS3?
Right.
So,
That's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, just I don't know. I don't know what it was. I hooked it up and I'm like, this feels really weird. Like, why
Well,
am I doing this?
whenever I saw that you were getting your PS3 back out, I'm like, what is a PS3?
Right?
Like, when was the last time I even was playing one of those things? What was the last game that I played on it? Was that still Black Ops 2 life back then?
Maybe.
I think so. My goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a bunch of games downloaded on it. I don't know what the last one was that I played.
Hmm.
Probably it was honestly probably a PS1 game because they had the ones that you could download off the PlayStation store. So I think I have Breath of Fire 4 on there, maybe Breath of Fire 3. And I think I still have to use my disc. I actually still own the disc of Breath of Fire 3.
Hmm.
Um and no, wait. No, that can't be right because the PS3 that I'm using doesn't. Oh no, wait, it does. I just can't play PS2 games on it. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know, but now I'm playing Persona 3 on there and it's awesome and the music's great. And so far the story is decent, but I'm also not super far in. But I think it's going to be a good story too. So, but now I'm kind of looking at cuz there was obviously two, Persona 1, Persona 2, which those came out, oh my gosh. I want to say Super Nintendo, Genesis
Hmm.
maybe. I think that
I'd be going
sounds.
way back.
Yeah, maybe PS1, maybe PS1. Yeah, it might be PS1. So I want to take a look at options after I finish this and maybe try and go back and play those games. Although from what I understand, one of the big appeals to me with Persona games is the social aspect. Like you can build like these social links with your friends and people. And I don't think any of the games before 3 have that mechanic. So I'm hoping that it would still be fun. And, I think as long as the music is good, because man, these Persona games, they got some jams in it. Some real jams. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing. More Loop Hero. I can't say enough about that. I talked about it at length last week. Xbox, bring it to Game Pass. Nintendo, bring it to Switch. Let everyone get their hands on it because it's so freaking good.
You start yelling at me about that.
To play
Plus, deliver us the moon.
You could literally play that game in 2 sessions for sure. Sit down 4 hours, bang out half the game, another 4, maybe not even that long. Like maybe I want to say that game is beatable in like 6 to 8 hours, like tops, max. It's very short, but it's very good.
Maybe I can toss it into my space kick that I'm on right now because it's on the moon. I think a moon colony is involved in this whole thing, right? So maybe I can toss it into.
I think you would dig the lore behind it too, like what they were doing, because essentially they're harvesting an energy source from the moon, which you might be able to guess what that is.
Is it helium-3?
It is
helium-3?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Then it's accurate, at least in that point. I'm in. I'm gonna download it tomorrow after stream.
Good. Finally.
Well, I play Stellaris that has like gigantic planet-killing spaceships and spacefaring organisms living in it. I'm like, helium-3, accurate. I'm in. Yeah, I'll check it out. I have to.
You have to, yeah. Like you said, Space Kick. It's definitely got lots of space in it. So, all right. So that takes us into our question of the week, and this was a big one. So I don't know that this went up on social media. This might have been a Discord.
We don't do the social media anymore. Yeah. So if you want the question of the week, you got to come to the Discord.
There you have it. Get it on the Discord if you want to. And this is one I think a lot of people could get very opinionated on, and I would love to see even more responses. But anyway, so this was actually posed by Nishon, friend of the show, who also appeared on Level Grinders for our Pokemon Gen 1 discussion that we had. So he asks, let's see, after games are fun and Level Grinders tackle Pokemon in their most recent episodes, we want to hear from you. Who's your favorite Pokemon? With the Pokédex close to 900 Mons, might be hard to narrow it down to one. So if you'd like to give us top 5, we'll accept that too. I think for the most part, we just got 1, maybe 2 in a couple of them. So anyway, Gravier 1984, he chose Bulbasaur. And I like that most of these, like when people gave their answers, they gave it in the form of either a GIF or a picture, which was great. Let's see. James Holiday, also known as Buttlord Primus, chose Murkrow. Says this little guy oozes with gusto. And like me, he likes to dress nice, but he's not rich. He's just a trinket-loving hoarder. So there you go. Mad Hatter 1138 says Psyduck is my favorite. Taylor the Savior says gotta go with my boys Swampert and Snorlax. Swampert is my absolute favorite since I chose Mudkip as my starter and wrecked shop with him in Sapphire version. I also chose him again in Emerald version, which is my all-time favorite Pokemon game. Snorlax is a strong second favorite. I love how tanky and beefy he is as a Pokemon, and the ability Thick Fat is an absolute beast of an ability in competitive battle when paired with an item like Leftovers. I love a good physical attacker, and Snorlax is one of my favorites. Also, I relate very heavily with a big, chill, laid-back Pokemon that loves sleeping and eating. Tell me, is there a more relatable Pokemon? Nice.
No, no, there's not.
So Nishon, not content to choose just one, goes Garchomp, Rowlet, Decidueye, Aegislash, and Electros, which are actually all really good choices, except for the fact I'm going to give Nishan a little bit of hell here because he chose Rowlet and Decidueye, which are the same, basically the same thing. Like one is just the evolved version of the other. Come on, Nishan. They're the same. Anyway, we all know Garchomp is his real. Like if he had to pick one, it would definitely be Garchomp. Easy.
It would be. There's no hiding it. I like how he tried to give the list to kind of be like, "Oh, I have other favorites," but we
Right.
know it's going
We
to be.
know. We know.
No,
There's no mystery about it.
definitely not.
So yeah. So those were the responses that we got. So I know we talked about our favorite Gen 1 Pokemons in the level grinders yesterday. What's your favorite of all time? Or,
See,
favorite 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever.
I was thinking about it's still Gengar. I think hands
No.
down it's still Gengar for me. Because just a really great all-around Pokemon. And it's in Sword and Shield, so like I don't have to be like, "Oh, well this one's like it's Gen 1 and I'm going to like hang my hat on that," but it's also in Sword and Shield. Like you can go out and catch it. You have to trade it still to if you want to have like a special bred one, you still have to do the trade business. But you can go out into the wild area and catch a Gengar wild. So yeah, I'm sticking with Gengar. Just a really great ghost poison type, and there's not much that can go up against it successfully except for a psychic, and that's it. I put everything else to sleep with that hypnosis dream eater still, and still wreck house completely. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think for me, I would again, it's tough. I think it's got to be Blastoise because I mean the cannons, right? We talked about it like the cannons, everybody, the cannons. Um, yeah, Blastoise is great. I think also, and this isn't probably as spicy of a take, but Mewtwo is a favorite of mine. I think a lot of people would say that Mewtwo is pretty awesome. So, so yeah, those would be like the two top ones. I mean, most of my favorites are gonna come out of Gen 1 because that's just the series or the generation that I guess resonated with me the most or the one that stuck with me the most over all the ones. There's a lot of really great ones. I will say Farfetch'd. I like Farfetch'd, especially Surfetch'd from Sword and Shield.
Yeah,
It's a really great one. That Galarian version Rapidash is amazing. Trying to think what else. Gyarados has always been a one that I really like, especially coming from Magikarp. Coming from like absolute nothing to like this absolute badass. Love it.
Very bad typing though, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is unfortunate for sure.
You get that 4 times weakness to electricity, plus it's still weak to grass type. Like there's a lot of bad typing to it, but a great one. Yeah, Rapidash, Galarian Ponyta and Rapidash, like they're in my final party. They're fantastic. Absolutely love them. Butterfree is another one of my favorites. Like I am not even gonna lie, like Butterfree usually leads my party off whenever it really comes down to anything because very versatile bug type Pokemon. Again, typing's a little rough because as soon as a fire type comes out, it's dunzos. But Butterfree is fantastic, a big favorite of mine. And then I'm trying to think into the newer ones, like ones in the Galar region that really. I'm looking at the Pokédex right now. That kind of other than the Ponyta, like what else? What else from that one? Because I don't want to sit there.
I
Because
mean,
like
I like
Gen 1.
I like Score Bunny a lot.
Yeah.
That's a good one. The two wolves are cool. Like the legendaries from that game were good.
I don't even know how to pronounce their names
Was it the
till this day.
the Galarian coughing? I really like too. Those giant like smokestacks on top.
The top hat, yeah.
Yeah, really good. Yeah,
Cub Food is pretty awesome.
it's
I
a
like Cub Food a
good
lot.
generation for sure.
It's a super solid game.
If Garrett can come around, that tells you it's got to be good.
right?
All right. So I guess that kind of about wraps it up here. Anything else you wanted to add or touch base on quick before we end the show?
Um, it ties in with my plug. Tomorrow afternoon, the Square Enix event, I will be doing a live reaction stream with my stream tomorrow, which starts at 9 a.m. Eastern time. You can find me here on Twitch at Lordly King S. And then also on Twitter and Instagram at Lordly King S. Which I've been, sometimes I tweet, sometimes every once in a while. But yeah,
So
that's all I got.
also, before I forget, so new question of the week, and remember, if you want to answer this, you got to join our Discord. If you could pick one game to be on Xbox Game Pass, what would it be? And again, this could be either a game that just you want to try out, you want to play, you're really interested in, and you don't want to, shell out the money for, or it's a game that, really is a game that you love that you want other people to experience and you think that they would if they had the option to get it on Game Pass. What would you want to be there? So we'll get that posted in Discord. Make sure you stop on in, give us your answer. We'll make sure to read it out on the next show.
Do we want to extend that out to all the free game services? I don't think Nintendo has one, do they? Like here's a bunch of free games.
I mean, they have their Super Nintendo NES online thing, but I think that's it.
So I would say just include everybody. We can do the PlayStation one because not everybody has Xbox, not everybody has PlayStation. So if we say like, okay, if these guys are going to come out with a list of free games for you to play or games to their services, what's that one? I think that would that encompasses kind of the theme that we had going on here tonight. What do you think?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay.
Everyone put your thinking caps on, join that Discord, come check it out. One last time, give us your plugs. Where can people find you?
So you can find me here on Twitch. That's to everybody who's live right now, which you should do that also. Twitch at Lordly King S. as well as Twitter and Instagram. And like I said, 9 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday.
Very good. And you can find me, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram at AdamPalooza85. Typically, I stream Sunday afternoons, 1 p.m. Eastern, and then usually it's Tuesdays and Wednesday evenings at about 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes that they get moved around a little bit because of these recordings like tonight. So my next stream will be tomorrow, Thursday evening at 8:30. So typically when I move one around, I usually put it somewhere else in the week where I can. So yeah, you can find me on all those at AdamPalooza85. You can follow us. For those that are here on Twitch, you already know how to find us. For those of you that aren't, twitch.tv/GamesAreFunPodcast. Twitter, where Games Are Fun at Games Are Fun Pod. If you want to join Discord, it's invite.gg/GamesAreFun. And also, don't forget to give us that follow on YouTube. It's Games Are Fun or Games Are Fun Podcast, one of those two. if you search Games Are Fun, you'll probably find us. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.